Are you guys ready for a brand new DCEU update? All right, it's first thing in the morning here, and I won tickets last night to go see Black Adam early, so I will be going tonight. So if you are waiting for my review, it's not going to be tomorrow night. It will be tonight. As soon as I get home from the film, I will be reviewing Black Adam. So be prepared for that. That is coming tonight. So stick to my channel, and as soon as I get done with it, I will load it up. So just, I should be posting that video in about, my guess, is about 12, 30, 14, about 15 hours from right now. So just be looking for that. As soon as I get it done, I will put it up. Now, I'm going to talk about a few things in this video. The first thing I want to talk about is some of the more or lesser stories here, and then I'm gonna share my screen and I'm gonna show you something very interesting about Black Adam. Lots of DC news has hit the internet over the last couple of days. They're talking about the Batman film going forward. The Flash 2 is actually in development, so they are moving forward with Ezra Miller as the Flash, and that's if he doesn't go to prison. He pled not guilty in court yesterday, and he does face up to 26 years in prison for this theft that he did. So supposedly, we don't know all the details, but that is ongoing in the background. So they'll have to make some considerations if he does end up going to jail. But who knows how long trials can take? They can take quite a bit of time. You also had, the comments about Wonder Woman 3 being possibly a Trinity film. I talked about this in a previous video. Looks like the villain might be Cersei, which is a character that can create quite a bit of havoc, and it would make sense to have Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman in that film. That is also not the end. Some people tend to think that that's going to be the last of Wonder Woman, and Patty Jenkins says that is not the end of Wonder Woman. There's also been some The Batman news out there as well. The movies with Robert Pattinson that are being planned. There is supposedly, and there is no hard concrete proof on this, that is going to be there's going to be a series of villain movies, which would be kind of cool to see. I'm still on the fence about the Batman, Batman's my favorite DC character by far, and the way they treated him, or the way they portrayed him in the Batman, really had me scratching my head for lots of reasons, and if there's no growth with that character in the second film, they will have lost me. There has to be some considerable growth in that character going forward. Let's talk about some of the controversial comments, I can't even talk this morning, comments that The Rock made this week that has everybody on Twitter, the Snyder fans, and everybody up in arms. He said that this movie is ushering in a new era with DC, and you might want to consider this part one of a whole new direction that they're going in. And people are leading this to believe that, people are thinking he's leading us to believe that this is going to be basically Hamadaverse 2.0. That The Rock will be in charge, and he's going to be making the decisions and doing things the way he wants and making himself the center of the DC universe. That is not going to happen. I can tell you right now that is not going to happen. And even if he makes comments that this is a reset, kind of like phase one, part one of what they're going to be doing moving forward, that's fine. They're introducing the JSA in this film. They're going to be they're even going to tie this in. I do know that there's going to be a tie-in to Peacemaker, and so this movie is setting the groundwork to make things more connected going forward, which is fine. That's to be expected. I mean, that's what we've all wanted from the beginning, is to have everything somewhat connected but cohesive. And Warner Brothers did not want to make it cohesive. There were reports, some definitive reports that came out yesterday that talked about Henry Cavill being fired from being Superman after Justice League came out. That Warner Brothers basically said, you're done. You're gone. And if you noticed, Henry Cavill was very quiet over the last 5-6 years. Very quiet in the background, because he didn't want to ruin his chances of coming back as Superman. He knew that this was a temporary thing with hopes of coming back again. Now, they never officially gave him his walking papers, but they pretty much let him know, we're going to be going in a different direction, and you will not be Superman going forward. And he kept quiet, and it's a good thing he did because The Rock is responsible for bringing him back for Black Adam, and he will be Superman going forward. If you saw my last video, they are producing Man of Steel 2, which there are some rumors out there that it's just going to be titled Superman. And I wouldn't be upset with that if they just called it Superman. If they call it Man of Steel 2, that's fine too. It doesn't matter to me as long as we get to keep these characters in the DCEU and that they get a cohesive feel going forward. People have to understand they can't just bring Zack Snyder back right now. He has a contract with Netflix. He can't come back right away. So his contract is going to have to finish up before he can do anything for Warner Brothers or DC. But if you noticed, everybody who said they were never coming back are coming back, and Hamada is pretty much gone. He did not attend the Black Adam premiere, and he's pretty much boxed up all of his belongings, and he is leaving the company. So he will no longer be down there. All of the old regime, they are gone. This is a good sign for everybody, and we need to support this film. If we don't support this film, you might as well just kiss everything goodbye going forward. All right, so now I'm going to share my screen, and I want to show you something about Black Adam, which is I'm going to show you just the asinine state of the internet and movie reviewers. So here is Rotten Tomatoes. I do not like Rotten Tomatoes. People don't understand the way their score works. And first of all, I want you to understand how their score works. If it says 54%, that doesn't mean everybody gave it like a 2.5 out of 5. How Rotten Tomatoes works is if anybody gives it anything below a 2.5, it gets a bad mark. So anything above a 2.5 or above is going to get a positive score. So there are some pretty negative scores here. But I'm going to show you why, and I'm going to talk about why I don't believe anything that is posted on Rotten Tomatoes. Number one, I will tell you that with The Woman King that came out in theaters, they totally fabricated the reviews on that. And there are plenty of videos out there showing you that they fabricated the positive reviews on that. It was all new accounts, fake accounts. Nobody talked about the plot. There are plenty of videos out there that show that this is just, they've cooked the numbers on Rotten Tomatoes is the point. But a lot of reviewers, and I saw some from a couple of reputable outlets out there, supposedly like Rolling Stone, they didn't like it. IGN gave it a 5. And I'm going to show you why, and why I don't put a whole lot of, I just don't put a lot of stock in this here. So if we go down to the actual reviews, this one here pretty much sums it up. So Jordan Hoffman can go fly a kite. He said there's not really much to stew on the Black Adam once you've left the theater, except to be somewhat amazed at how the story comments but doesn't comment on the actual political situation in the Middle East. All I could say is, screw you. All right? That's all I have to say. I can't stand it when people bring in political crap into films. Superhero films are not meant to be political. If you are expecting this to be a political film about the Middle East, you have no business reviewing movies, and you have no business commenting and making such asinine, I can't believe that this guy has a voice, yet there's those of us that barely have a voice. I'm grateful for YouTube to be able to talk about things, but he actually gets a freaking voice, and he's a top critic. What a ridiculous statement, okay? It was never about, this was not meant to be a political film by any stretch of the imagination. And this is, I want to talk about why these reviewers are giving it bad reviews. And you can see there are some good reviews, but there are far more bad reviews than there are good. If it's not woke, and it doesn't have to do with, replacing everything that Zack Snyder did, these critics are going to hate it. Straight up hate it. I don't trust any of these reviews. Now, I'm going to be very honest with my review when I get home tonight. But this is ridiculous that people cannot go, and they're like expecting DC movies to be bad. And here's what I do know about this film. Now, what's funny is 37% are fresh, 32 are rotten. But it has a 54% rotten. It should be actually in the positive at that stage, because there are more fresh reviews than there are rotten. So I'm not sure why that right there, this number is wrong. There should be a tomato there. And yeah, well, I don't know. Well, let's put it this way. I don't know what they need to consider it to be, fresh. Maybe it's above 60%. I don't know. I haven't looked. But you can see more people have given it fresh than rotten. But there are going to be some people that are looking for that political message, something to further the woke agenda, to further beat down anything that Zack Snyder did. And they're going to hate it if that's not the case. You can see, though, that even the positive reviews are, he's not showing his review, but 2.5 out of 5, 3.5 out of 5, 3.5 out of 5, which is basically a 7. And you know what? Honestly, if it's 7 or above, I'm going to be okay with that. I'm just expecting to have a decent DC film to go see. 7.5 out of 10. So, people are giving it around 70, 75% who actually do like it. But you could see 2.5 out of 4, 2.5 out of 5. So the reviews are all over the board. And what I haven't done is I haven't clicked to see all of the rotten or the fresh. Those things we're hoping for. Lame comic book based origin movie. He's a big bad who's big mad, although it's moviegoers who are apt to be irritated by the lame comic book based origin story. It's a comic book. Yeah, I hear they stay pretty much true to Black Adam. And to be mad about that, stupid. So you can go through, you can actually visit the site and read this. This one just freaking stupid, people. All right, so nothing mishmash but a big budget superhero cliches with empty dialogue. I didn't expect this movie to rewrite anything. I just want to see a good Black Adam film, and that's fine with me. So there's just lots of stuff going on in these reviews. Whatever this new hierarchy of power is, it's confusing as hell. That's pretty funny. If you've seen Batman vs. Superman, and if you've seen Godzilla vs. Kong, this movie kind of follows that same format. Well, we all knew what was going to happen in this film. The issue is with everything else happening on screen around him, even its DCEU's dodgy standards, it's a mess of a cape. All right, I also want to talk about why this movie may not do as well as what people are talking about or hoping for. It was apparently revealed that this movie was going to be rated R. It had an R rating, and they had to trim it down to make it PG to get more seats, more people in the seats. They probably should have just left it as an R film. I mean, that's what this character requires. He's a brutal character. He does not show any type of mercy. And so if they're going to portray him right, it probably should have been an R-rated film. But they cut it down and trimmed it down, so this may not end up being the best film out there. So what are your guys' thoughts on these reviews? I'm looking forward to seeing it. I hope you guys will join me here after I get my review done tonight. And after you guys have seen it, please go back to my review and chime in. I would love to hear what other people thought. And if it's not a good movie by any stretch of the imagination, I'm very critical about films. Like if you've seen my The Batman review, I'm very critical of that film because some things that take you out of the movie, and I just think it's ridiculous. And to give you a couple of examples of that, when Batman goes flying 50 feet, 30 feet or whatever, when that bomb goes off because he put his arms up, it would have turned his insides to mush, okay? He could not have survived that. Neither would the squirrel suit jumping off of the Gotham City Police Department. He would have died when he hit the overpass. Ridiculous things. The scene with the car, what compelled the Penguin to get in a car and drive off when he could have just run inside the Iceberg Lounge, gone on the other side, and gotten away? There's so much illogical crap in the Batman film that it really ruins the world that they created. And no matter what you say, the Batman would never walk up to the Iceberg Lounge and knock. That is total bullcrap. He would never do that. People said, well, it's in his first year or second year. He's still not that seasoned detective. I don't care. If he's only in his first or second year, he would be hiding himself even more. So he would never walk up to the Iceberg Lounge and ask to be let in. Asinine. Totally asinine. I will be very subjective about this film. I will definitely give you my real thoughts on it after I see it tonight. I will see you guys on that video.